Well, my neighbor has decided to start, it sounds like he's sawing something in half. So we're just gonna deal with that. But I have another camera that was sent in for repairs. It is a K1000, and this is exactly how it was sent in. I was talking to the guy for a while, and he unscrewed the curtain mechanism there, as you can see. These are basically the spools that hold the tension in the curtain. So as it stands now, it will not fire. But the other issue is the light meter is not working, and I told him to check the contact on the bottom of the battery holder, basically, because it's very often that those become corroded and this, that, and the other. So we did that, and then I think in the process also unscrewed the other things accidentally. But I will say, look at that bottom. That is in excellent condition. That is like one of the cleanest looking bottom plates on the K1000 I've ever seen. There's a little bit of gunk on the inside, but that's honestly to be expected. I will be cleaning that out because that's part of it. Also applying new light seals. I've not really had a chance to look at this yet. I just unboxed it last night and took a quick look at it just to see where we were at. And so far, looks pretty good. There's a bit of emulsion buildup on the film plane here. That should be easy enough to clean off. A little bit of gunk around the eyepiece. You can see there's some signs of erosion on the paint on the viewfinder here, but all that's honestly to be expected. Okay, upon some brief some brief inspection, I will say, brief inspection, and the consensus is this top is gonna have to come off. So we have all of the tools required for removing the top of the K1000. I believe this is something that I've demonstrated on the channel before, but if not, here you go. So we are going to do the really not fun part first, which is removing the shutter speed selector and the ASA wheel. And when you're doing this, you want to be very careful, because especially with something in as pristine condition as this, you don't want to mark up any of the pieces too much. This is good that we're doing this for a number of reasons, because one, I'm going to be rewiring the light meter, and you need to have the top off for it anyway. And two, it'll just be good for more general inspection. Make sure things are operating well, and that things look as they should, basically. This is a metal top K1000, so there's fewer screws in place, and I don't know, I prefer these personally, the metal top, as opposed to the newer plastic ones, because I think they show a lot less wear and tear than the plastic ones do. Especially as the cameras get older, those cosmetic things are going to be much more important. Really not much, because it's summertime in Phoenix, and it's saying that it is 101 degrees outside, which I think is preposterous. Preposterous? That's a weird word. There we go. Boom. Let's see. Ooh, yeah, take a look at that. As you can tell, I'm doing work in a bit of a different location today. That is because of the aforementioned other things I have going on. So this isn't a permanent relocation. This is just because I was gone for about a week and this camera was sent to me about 2 days into me being gone for a week. And so I wanted to get to it as quick as possible. So that way I can get back out, because I feel kind of bad about being gone. I did, for the record, mention that I would be gone, so I don't feel too bad about it, but you know, just want to make sure that I keep that quick turnaround rate going. These top screws are important, do not forget. If I had $1 for every time I started putting this piece on without that screw, I would have a lot of dollars, because it's very often that I do that. Okay, top comes off. Two things. Make sure that you have the little plunger right there, and then you want to make sure that you lift that up as well. Curtains being completely disconnected, and the light metering thing not working. There doesn't appear to be any obvious signs of corrosion on the top here, which is a good sign. I'm going to take the front off. Okay. So all I've done now is removed the front skin. I'm going to take off the screws here. That's great. Got the screw out. An important thing to know is that all of these front screws here on the front plate do have a washer sitting behind them, and that's something that you want to make sure that you keep if you are doing this. This is one of those repairs. Actually, most of these repairs are things that I would recommend not doing at home. This is the disclaimer of don't try this at home, because when you get into anything that's like really invasive like this, where you're really altering the functionality of the camera, it becomes very easy to make missteps. And as one who has made many myself, it is something that you really want to be careful of. Okay, so let's see where we're at. This isn't good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to basically unsolder the wires here, so that way I can take the front plate off completely. It's a very easy job, and then we'll get to the issue at hand. But this is how you do that very quickly. Just set this down. I found the reference camera, I was able to take a look at that just to see where we're at, and I think to properly fix this particular issue, which would be the curtains becoming disconnected and subsequently a spacer being lost, what we're gonna have to do is take the mirror box out instead of just the front plate, as I've already done, as you can tell. I'm gonna go ahead and take the mirror box out. Shouldn't be too difficult, but it's also not very fun to do. So let's get to it. this over there with the rest of those. That's there. Those are all here. Okay, we're good. This may not look like any K1000 you've ever seen. Hopefully, you've not been graced by this. I don't even really know how to quantify how terrible, just awful this looks. But this is good. This is a good thing. Let's see. K1000's one of my favorite cameras by far, purely because of the simplicity of them. It's strictly mechanical except for small electrical accents all around here, and even those are very simple and rudimentary. So most everything on this camera is very fixable and able to tear down to this, which is something I admire. So this is the curtain system back here. So as you can tell, I had to remove the mirror box, the front plate, and also detach the top. This is the viewfinder, the focus screen, the prism, the light meter, all that had to come off so I could access this right here. Down here in the bottom is the timing mechanism if you're interested. This is the shutter. And then this actually is very interesting because if you look, let's see, gotta move this. Right here, there's your flash sync port, and that touches right there. So if you were just curious at all as to how that worked, there's a little inside view. Basically, now it's just a matter of getting this all working properly, lined up and pretty, and then putting it back together. So, anywho, just gonna get to it, and yeah, enjoy. I'll throw some music over this part so you don't have to listen to the movie I'm listening to and deal with me talking to myself. Boom. Got to put back together. So the spooling system on the K1000 essentially goes like this. And then there are inner spools here. And these inner spools have small little washers on them. And basically the string sits around here, and that string gets wrapped up around this, and the curtain is attached to the end of that. So when you advance, you'd be advancing this way. So you'd basically be pulling the curtain across. You know, the curtains are put together essentially. And then when you fire, depending on like the shutter speed you're firing at, it will release, sending the first curtain back. And then if it's anything below 1/30th of a second, then it engages the timing gear in the bottom of the camera via that second rod that sits back there. It presses in on the timing mechanism, and that delays the curtain travel backwards, essentially. So all I really had to do, which again, as I said, sounds very easy, but it was actually kind of difficult, was just to re-spool the curtain onto the rods, because it had fallen off. Because you can loosen up these rods with the bottom here and adjust the tightness of the curtains. Point being is it works now, as I will demonstrate. The advance lever on here. Fantastic. Look at that, beautiful. Got it on bulb currently. There we go. Here's 1000. Here's, I think, 1/2. And you hear those small gears spinning. That would be the timing mechanism that I talked about. So. Anyway, that is that. We'll get to that in a moment, but that is the curtain that I showed a little bit of. It takes a lot of time and patience, but yep. As you can see too, there's a lot of free space in this K1000. And in something like a KX or a K2, there'd be a self-timing mechanism in here that would sit here on the front plate, and it would just plop right in there, but there's no such thing here, so this is just empty. So it's just kind of funny to see like how kind of vacuous this camera is, with all of its simplicity being, you know, mechanical, not a lot of electrical components, really not a whole lot going on in this thing.